Always on your side. This is First Coast News at 5.
Breaking news happening all across the First Coast at 5. A 7-month-old is found dead inside of a car. That car parked outside of a motel. A live report just a minute away. Also, one person is dead, several others injured in an awful crash. We are live on the scene on San Jose Boulevard. And a statewide search for a missing child. Plus, storms once again rumbling across parts of the First Coast, dropping heavy rain. Also happening right now, the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office is on the scene investigating an undetermined death in Ortega Farms in that area. This is on 101st Street. We have a crew there on the scene. We'll bring you more details in just a moment.
And more breaking news right now out of Orange Park. Crews responding to the scene of a near drowning at an apartment complex off Wells Road. This is near Crossing Boulevard. A child is breathing, we're told, and at Orange Park Medical Center in stable condition. It's unknown the source of the water.
Right now, torrential rain in parts of the First Coast moving through the area.
On the left of your screen, that's a live look at the radar. On the right, travel along wet roadways at Jacksonville at this hour. We understand there is some standing water on I-95 and 295, so not the best driving conditions. Storm expert Tim Deegan joins us.
All right, a lot going on obviously for y'all, a lot going on meteorologically. We'll go quick to the radar in case you're making some plans and you're heading outdoors. If it's pouring overhead and you hear the thunder and feel the cracking of the lightning, you know what's happening. But where are the storms headed and where are they heading away from? First of all, notice the motion over the last 3 hours, basically from the north to the south. So if you're going to be out and about and it's dark to your north, storms are headed your way. If it's dark to your south, those storms are headed away. But let's zoom in to where the strongest storms are. Now, we do not have any severe thunderstorm warnings in effect, but remember, that's only for wind damage. We certainly, as mentioned by Jeannie and Heather, very heavy rains out there and always dangerous lightning strikes. First, follow the lightning strikes. They were most intense an hour ago over Nassau and northern Duval, but they are working southward in different clusters, but basically working southward now. The worst of the lightning over the southern half of Duval and now into northern Clay and then northern St. Johns County. We'll zoom in a little bit closer. This is where the heaviest of the rains are and some standing water as well. A few miles either side of I-95. This is going to be decreasing over the next 30 minutes in Duval. Going to be with you over northwestern St. John, northeastern Clay County for about the next 30 minutes. And these are some of the areas where the thunderstorms will be headed over about the next 30 minutes. That's probably impacting the most people. That is the storm system we just talked about. This, though, still significant for those of you over far southwestern Nassau, far western Duval, and Baker County. Heavy rain and lightning as well. This will be dropping to the south and impacting some of you folks like McClenny by 5:30 and Sanderson by 5:45. One more cluster to go. This over western Putnam County, far southwestern Clay County, and then points farther off to the south. In fact, hitting some of the areas that's had some of the heaviest rains yesterday, especially from Interlochen over to Melrose. Heavy rains again today. These storms are intensifying the most and the quickest and dropping to the south, and will be impacting you folks around Hawthorne, Orange Springs, and beautiful Micanopy. Going to wrap it up for now. Come back and take the picture beyond this evening in just a few moments.
Tim, thank you. Also breaking right now, one person has died, several others injured after a crash on San Jose Boulevard at El Ciento Boulevard. First Coast News anchor Jessica Clark is live tonight at the scene with more details. Jess?
Well, good evening. As you mentioned, we are at San Jose Boulevard in the 81. Jose appears to be blocked. They are letting traffic go through at a very slow rate. And then you can see the crash right here on San Jose. It was a pickup truck versus a car. And there are 5 people who were involved total. One person in the car has died. The other 4 people have all been sent to the hospital. You can hear the thunder right now. You can see the rain. It was not raining when this crash took place early this afternoon when we heard about it around 3 o'clock or so. But you can see that with rush hour traffic and this particular situation, along with the rain, it can be very dangerous. We don't know who's at fault. That's all under investigation still, according to the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. They are measuring, talking to witnesses about what happened, as well as directing traffic. Also telling folks, please wear your seatbelts. They do save lives. Live in Jacksonville, Jessica Clark, First Coast News on your side.
Jessica, thank you. Now to the breaking news we're following tonight out of Southeast Georgia. A baby discovered dead inside of a car outside of a motel.
Now this is happening late this afternoon outside the Quality Inn Motel in Kingsland, Georgia. This is just off I-95. First Coast News reporter Lana Harris is at the scene and she is live on the phone right now. And Lana, tell us what you have found out about this.
Yeah, I actually spoke to a witness who says he tried to save the baby. He says he's active military and that he was about to get into the shower when he heard a lady screaming that a baby was choking. So he ran down. He was on the second floor. He ran down into the parking lot to do CPR or Heimlich. When he got over there, he says the mother was holding the baby, crying hysterically. He says the baby was a male. He says that she kept screaming, "Save my baby, save my baby." He tore the onesie off. He says that blood was coming out of the baby's nose, that he tried to do infant CPR. He had training in that. He says he checked for the pulse. He also says the baby felt very hot, and he thought it might have been hyperthermia. He says he also felt the baby had already passed, but he just kept going because, his mom was right there, and he just didn't want to stop trying. And he says he just kept going until deputies showed up. So Kingsland police officers have confirmed this is an infant death investigation and says that GBI has been asked to assist with this investigation. So we're going to keep you updated with any more information as we get it. Back to you guys.
All right, thank you so much, Lana. And breaking news out of Gainesville tonight, FDLE is looking for a missing 3-week-old baby. Jace Jenkins went missing Sunday near Southwest 13th Street in Gainesville. He might be in the company of 37-year-old Allison Jenkins. Jenkins is 5'3", has brown hair and blue eyes. So if you've seen either the baby or Jenkins, either one of them, please call police or call 911. And developing right now, JSO is investigating after a woman was found dead inside a home off Mossbrook Court this afternoon. Now, according to police, the woman was found in a pool of blood. First Coast News reporter Hani Rodriguez joins us live from the scene with more details on this investigation and what neighbors are saying tonight. Hani?
Hey, Jeannie. Well, police were called out to this home here behind me at around 9:15 in the morning, and they are still here. They have been here for hours. We saw about 6 or so detectives in the home as well. Several of those people have already left the scene, but as you can see, crime scene vans are still here. And earlier today, you could also see some of that more movement, detectives in and out of that home. Now, I was able to speak with the ex-daughter-in-law of the victim inside the home. She told me she was actually found by her ex-husband's girlfriend, and apparently she was stabbed to death. Now, she ran to a neighbor who called for help, and that is when police were called out to the scene. At this point, the family is not willing to release the name because all family members have not been notified yet, as well as police. In fact, the woman's son has not been located, and her car is still missing. Now, I spoke to a neighbor in the area who told me this is typically a pretty quiet neighborhood.
It definitely is a shock, and it's just, you can't imagine. I hope they find out the story behind her death, and to me, I don't know, I hope it wasn't a robbery or anything.
Now, this incident is still under investigation. We'll be sure to bring you the latest details once we have more information. For now, reporting live, I'm Hani Rodriguez, First Coast News, on your side.
The man at the center of a standoff in the Sandalwood area last Friday is now charged with murdering his own wife. Tonight, 45-year-old Gerard Stewart is in jail after police say he stabbed his wife Julie to death, hid her in the trunk of their car, and then tried to kill himself. He was Baker acted Friday and officially in police custody this morning for his first court appearance. First Coast News reporter Crystal Bailey is live tonight outside of the jail. Crystal?
Well, that's right. Julie Stewart filed for divorce in April, and just days before her death, she actually filed the most recent of that paperwork. The couple was married for about 20 years. They had a 9-year-old son. That son now left without a mother and a father, facing charges of tampering with evidence and, of course, murder.
I was going to play with him at 3, and that's like when it happened.
Cops swarming Cavalry Boulevard, where the standoff lasted hours on Friday.
I've never heard the parents argue or fight. Like, they seem like a really healthy family.
Most neighbors saying something along those lines, surprised to hear Gerard Stewart confessed to murdering his wife. Cleon Farrow, a friend of their 9-year-old son, says he's been passing by the house to see if he can find him.
I wanted to talk to him and see if he's okay and if he's going to go to my school next year.
Neighbors say Julie Stewart was a generous woman.
She would take me places like Adventure Landing and stuff.
And Gerard Stewart is in jail with no bond. His next court appearance is July 11th. Reporting live from JSO, Crystal Bailey, First Coast News, on your side.
Such a sad story, Crystal. Thank you. And there's no evidence of previous domestic violence in this case. But I want to take a moment to remind you that if you feel you're in a dangerous relationship, help is available. You can contact the Hubbard House. The number's right there at the bottom of your screen. We also have that number for you in this story. Just head to firstcoastnews.com. A crash shut down the westbound lanes on the Matthews Bridge for a short time this afternoon. You're taking a look at video of the accident from the eastbound side of the bridge. No reports of any major injuries as a result of that accident.
And we are watching your money tonight. The Dow finished down more than 280 points today. This as trade war fears continue to grow with China over those proposed tariffs. We will keep an eye on the stock market over the next couple of days for you. The man accused of stabbing a complete stranger and then just running away has pleaded not guilty. James Jackson faces aggravated battery charges after police say he stabbed a man outside Birdie's in 5 Points in Riverside. Jason White was the victim in this case. He suffered severe stab wounds to his kidneys and his liver. Jackson's next pretrial date is July 17th. Well, Parsons Christian Academy is moving into the old Arlington Country Day School campus, but they're tasked with fixing up the place. The school was left in bad condition back in January when it closed. Even personal files were left behind with social security numbers and birth certificates. So administrators at Parsons Christian Academy are asking for volunteers to help. So if you have skills that can help them put the school back together, you are very welcome to help. They are trying to reopen this fall for the early fall semester. Well, a second victim is speaking out after falling from a roller coaster in Daytona Beach last week.
Falling more than 30 feet. You're going to hear her emotional story about that scary ordeal next.
Continuing coverage now, we heard last night from one of the riders injured in that scary roller coaster accident in Daytona Beach last week. Melissa Collins was in Daytona Beach last Thursday with friends from work, but a good time quickly turned into a nightmare when the roller coaster went off the rails, leaving Melissa with some very serious injuries, including multiple broken bones. First Coast News' Jessica Clark has the details tonight.
I couldn't breathe. I really thought I was going to die.
Melissa Collins describes a horrifying scene.
My car totally derailed, and I was hanging up in the air. Another one of my co-workers, I watched her fall to the ground.
Trapped some 30 feet above the ground, the mother of two recalled those scary moments after her roller coaster ride derailed.
I couldn't breathe. I was in so much pain and hurting.
The terrifying tragedy played out late Thursday at the Mardi Gras Fun Center on the Daytona Beach Boardwalk.
The roller coaster completely broke off. We need an ambulance, please.
The Sandblaster coaster, which Collins was riding with co-workers, flew off the rails. Its front car dangled off the tracks. Two riders plummeted 3 stories down, including Collins' friend, Amanda.
All I could do was see her plunge to the ground. I remember her jumping up, and knowing she was probably in pain.
Melissa Collins says her injuries include 9 broken ribs, spinal injuries, and a fractured collarbone that required surgery.
All of my ribs are crushed.
Just hours earlier, the Sandblaster had passed a state inspection, reopening after a shutdown last month. According to state records, the ride has a history of maintenance problems, including damaged cars and excessive corrosion.
We believe that a lawsuit is imminent.
Attorney Matt Morgan is representing Collins and 2 others injured in the crash.
We believe that the failure occurred as a result of improper maintenance with this particular coaster.
The rides operators, Boardwalk Amusement Rides, pointed to that day's state inspection, telling NBC News in part, the safety and well-being of our customers has always been our top priority. We continue to fully cooperate with all state agencies in their investigation and will do so until their investigation is complete. Meanwhile, Melissa Collins says all she really wants to do is get back home to her family in Kentucky.
I've got a 10-year-old and 13-year-old back at home crying because they don't know how their mommy is.
Gosh, can you imagine? I know you can't. Officials have not said what caused the roller coaster to derail. The Sandblaster ride is still closed, and tonight that investigation continues.
Well, Governor Rick Scott visited Puerto Rico to discuss hurricane recovery efforts from Hurricane Maria. The governor met with Puerto Rico's governor to offer guidance, advice, and assistance. During this visit, Scott also participated in Puerto Rico's P3 summit regarding hurricane recovery.
And in response to high customer demand in Puerto Rico, Crowley Fuels has acquired 40 additional what they call ISO tanks to transport natural gas to the island. This gives the company the capacity to ship more than 20 million gallons of natural gas each year to Puerto Rico.
A virus first found in Tampa Bay area mosquitoes has now been identified in humans for the first time ever. Researchers say that back in August of 2016, a teen had a rash with a fever, and that was during the Zika virus epidemic. Well, that teenager was found not to have Zika, but to have this so-called Keystone virus. And officials stress the importance of using mosquito repellent to prevent mosquito bites.
Now, weather with your First Coast News storm experts, powered by AC Designs.
And with all the stormy weather, if you don't want your electronics blown out, fried from the lightning, there's something you could do.
It's called a surge arrestor.
So this came from the utility companies as a reminder. It's called a surge arrestor. There's all kind of stuff we can buy for indoors, and they help. But especially if we're out working or whatever, and we come back and things are that this works best. $3.50 a month, but you call them up. They'll make an appointment. They put it right at the meter, and it does work better as a tendency than the stuff we put inside.
Sounds like a smart plan.
Yeah,
to try to replace
because
all that
obviously
stuff.
we have a few more days of thunderstorm and lightning to go, with summer actually astronomically speaking, easy for me to say, on Thursday. Okay, so we're beginning to relax for those of us, especially in Duval and Nassau County. We've pretty much had our storm for the day, especially when it comes to lightning. Watch just over the last hour how the lightning strikes have decreased from north to south over Nassau and then now most of Duval, even on the south side from south to town center on over to about the Avenues Mall. This storm has just about completely collapsed. But hey, we care about you folks beyond Duval, so let's take a look. Still some heavy rains, but even the rains are rapidly diminishing along in a few miles either side of I-95 over southeastern Duval. The heavy rains will last longer for those of you over northwestern St. Johns County, especially along and west of I-95 to the river. But what about where's the storm headed? With heavy rain and lightning, it's going to continue to work to the south. Think primarily Highway 13 to the east, Highway 17 to the west, places like Federal Point, East Palatka, and Palatka over about the next 30 to 45 minutes. Another cluster continues along the Florida-Georgia border, along the swamp, northwestern Baker County, beginning to weaken from east to west. Nonetheless, lots of lightning, very heavy rain, dropping south and southwestward through some of these locations over about the western half of Baker County. And finally, we're going to go way down south. This is probably now the most intense thunderstorm and will be for about the next 45 minutes to an hour. Heavy rains over northwestern Putnam County. So here's Palatka, Highway 17. This storm will stay west of you. In Palatka, we're watching that storm to your north. That's what's going to head your way. Interlochen to Melrose to Hawthorne, and this will continue to drop to the south. I think nearly all of these storms will pretty much be out of here by about 7 o'clock tonight, except for possibly you folks out toward I-75. Computer model supports that. Then tomorrow, a bit of a switch in the thunderstorm pattern. Over the last couple of days, it's pretty much been blue sky east of I-95, but tomorrow, I think even you folks east of I-95 will at least see some thunderstorms develop and spread back your way. So, For east of I-95, going to go for not everybody, but about a 40% coverage of thunderstorms, mostly after about 1 to 2 o'clock, highs of 93 degrees. But look at this. Along and west of I-95 tomorrow, I'm going to give you an 80% chance of a thunderstorm. Now, it's not going to happen all day. You'll have enough sun to see temperatures make it up maybe to 95, but I'd say after 1 to 2 o'clock, plan on some thunderstorms, and will probably be pretty active over other areas farther off to the west. Now, out around the beaches, it's going to be close. But again, lightning is like horseshoes. You don't want to even be close. So whereas over the last couple of days, we really haven't had to worry about lightning out at the beaches, tomorrow will be a different story. Well, here's the guaranteed part of the outlook, the forecast that is, as long as the Earth continues to rotate, the longest day of the year, the summer solstice, comes on Thursday. Looks like some pretty widespread thunderstorms around the area through at least Sunday.
Thank you, Tim. Okay, look at this. You got to be a little crazy to try doing this.
A little crazy?
Or a lot crazy. Okay.
Oh, gosh.
This guy, he's alone in the water dancing with an alligator. He picks him up, serenades him. Oh, my goodness.
So I'm like, is that real? It must be, I guess. I just don't know. What do y'all think?
What was he thinking?
Nuts.
Definitely not a good idea to do that.
Since when is the gator so docile? You never know what it's going to do. No, I would never do that in a million years, in case you want to ask.
Well, today is Juneteenth, but what is the meaning behind it?
We're going to tell you how Juneteenth is related to slavery after the break.
We have more information now on the breaking news we brought you at the top of this broadcast. JSO giving us new details into that death investigation taking place right now on 101st Street. That's in Ortega Farms in that area. We're told that the victim is a man in his 60s. He was found by a neighbor inside of a home. That neighbor then called police. Investigators right now cannot say whether or not they suspect foul play, but they do confirm this death is not connected to a homicide earlier today on Jacksonville's west side. Well, June 19th is a day commemorating the end of slavery in the U.S., also known as Juneteenth, and it's a day to celebrate freedom and equal rights. 153 years ago today, in 1865, Union soldiers landed in Galveston, Texas, with news that the Civil War had ended and those enslaved were free. The word Juneteenth was the result of the words June and 19th being slurred together in speech. And today, many of the activities to celebrate continue in tradition. Juneteenth is now recognized as a state holiday and through observance in more than half of U.S. states.
Tomorrow, the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp Organization hosting a job fair. They are looking to fill seasonal food and beverage positions. It's going to happen tomorrow at the baseball grounds in Jacksonville from 5 to 7 p.m. More information is on jaxshrimp.com.
We are digging deeper tonight into United Airlines' ever-changing pet policies that are causing some headaches for our military families overseas.
Next at 5:30, how the airline is making more exceptions now.
Did your